Mark 13, and I'll just go straight to the point. 37. And what I say unto you all, I say unto you, I say unto all, watch. Matter of fact, let me read 32. But of the day and that hour knoweth no man, no, not the angels which are in heaven, neither the Son, but the Father. This proves that Yahushua and the Father are not equal. They are one as far as, they agree in the same thing, but they are not equal. All right, take ye heed, watch and pray, for you know not when the time is. But the Lord gave us what signs that would happen. And it says here, for the Son of Man is as a man taking a far journey, who left his house, which is Israel, and gave authority to his servants, which are the prophets, and to every man his work. And this is why we work. That's why Yahushua said, till I come, occupy. So basically stay occupied, stay working, stay doing this work. So if you have a problem with doing the 3 videos a week, you should be in the mindset, not that you're going to do a video every day, unless the Spirit is on you that way, but you should be in the mindset to want to do a video a day or multiple videos a day if the Spirit is on you to do that. But if the Spirit is not on you to do that, let's say you do 5 videos a week, that's still good, as long as you taking your talents and putting them out there. It says, and commanded the porter to watch. Right, and this is what we're commanded to do, watch. And notice how many times in these few verses the word watch keeps coming up, because the word watch is very important in what's happening. This is why it says measure the times. How can you measure the times if you're not on the watchtower? When Issachar, was watching the stars and the moon, the sun, and all that, what were they watching for? They were watching for the cycles of the moon, to know when the new moon was coming in, to know when the high holy days were coming in. So they had to watch the heavens. So we're watching what? Prophecy. This is how we measure the times. We're watching prophecy to see, okay, what's happening right now that dictates what the Lord Yahushua said, to let us know that we're closer to his coming. For our salvation is nearer than when we believe. And the word there for watch is Gregorio. Right, you got the word vigilance, vigil, means to be at watch. Gregory, I don't know if the word Gregory actually means to watch. The name Gregory name meaning. Gregory from Latin, Gregorius, which came from the late Greek term Gregorios, meaning watchful. Yeah, so the word Gregory means to watch. So right here, when we just looked at here, the word watch is Gregorio. Like the Gregorian calendar, Gregorio means to watch. Gregory means to watch. To watch, metaphorically, give strict attention to, be cautious, active, right? Because you would be, if you are a man of the Lord, you would be occupied in prophecy. We would be occupied in prophecy, looking at things happening, and, we're a body. So one man doesn't catch everything. And this is why you have brothers that do videos, brothers that send information out. And I want to say the water to you, brothers that keep me, abreast on certain situations. I finally got my internet going, so Barakateh Halbashim Al Shai for that. So now, I can, do my videos a little earlier, Yahweh Bashim Al Shai Ratazah, that way feed the flock early, feed the flock in the midday, feed the flock late. Nevertheless, feed the flock. Ecclesiastes 3:91, but he that giveth his mind to the law of the Most High and is occupied in the meditation thereof will seek out the wisdom of all the ancients and be occupied in prophecies. Why? Because when you go back to the beginning, the prophets have been here since the beginning, and all they have been doing is prophesying, about wars, pestilence, change of guard, different empires coming and going, and also the coming of the Messiah and the glory that would be revealed afterwards. And we're at that point now. They thought 2,000 years ago Yahushua was coming back to bring the kingdom. No, he brought the message of the kingdom back then. This time he's coming to actually bring the kingdom, because we are the kingdom. That's why he said the kingdom of heaven cometh not with observation, neither shall they say here or there, for the kingdom of heaven is within you. So the kingdom of heaven is within us, meaning it's our spirit. We are the kingdom of heaven. This is why the nation of Israel, beginning with the men, are what? The temple of the Most High. Really the men, because the women, are under the authority of the man. So the flock of my pasture are men. So we are the temple of the Lord. So right now, the elect men of the nation of Israel are being built up, the third temple, if you want to call it that, the tabernacles of David, So we would be occupied in prophecies, because this is what's happening right now, to be watchful, see what's happening, so that we can know, okay, what time are we in? And we're at the very end. So it says, metaphorically, this is back in the word Gregorius, give strict attention to, be cautious, active, to take heed, lest through remission and indolence, some destructive calamity suddenly overtake you, right? And that's why it says the cares of this world and the deceitfulness of riches choke the word. And it also speaks about being charged with surfeiting, and so that day would come upon you unawares. Matter of fact, let's get that real quick. Let me finish this out. Let me get that. Luke 21. Luke 21 and 20. It might be a little further down. I mean, this is all good, man. But in the interest of time, I got to get ready to roll out soon. Man, I'll start at 29. I want to start out further up, but Luke 21:29. And he spake to them a parable. Behold, the fig tree and all the trees, when they now shoot forth, you see and know of your own selves that summer is now nigh at hand, right? Because you see the signs. Flowers start to blossom, the birds start singing, the weather is better, you see, the rain's coming down, It says, so likewise, when you see these things come to pass, what things? The things that the Lord spoke about: wars, rumors of wars, the uproars of the people, earthquakes in diverse places. And right now, we're because Yahushua didn't speak about the MOTB, because the MOTB wasn't written about yet. But this is all part of the watch, okay? Because that wasn't written till about another roughly 60 years in the future from when Yahushua made this oration. It says, know ye that the kingdom of the Most High is nigh at hand, meaning the kingdom is almost here. When you see these things, verily I say unto you, this generation shall not pass away till all be fulfilled. So we're in that generation now. We are that generation that the Lord said all these things will be fulfilled in. This is why you see such a great time of prophecy happening worldwide. Everything popping off, and just the amount of information that's out there. If you are a MOTB denier, then that means that you are either paid off or you just that blind. And it's, the Lord could do it. He said, if a prophet be deceived, I, the Lord, have deceived them. But it's virtually impossible not to really see this technology happening, the way that things are rolling out, the way that the economy is going, and that not be written in scripture and prophecy for the last times. There's never been a time like this ever on the planet, ever, technological wise. You've always had technology, but not on this scale, not on this level. So it says, heaven and earth shall pass away, but my words shall not pass away. And take heed to yourselves. Here's the point. He said, anytime your hearts, meaning your minds, be overcharged with surfeiting, overindulgence. The scripture say use the words, not abusing it. There's times you need a reprieve, a little break here and there, drink a little yayan or whatever, listen to a little music here and there, but for the most part, our mindset is to be occupied in teaching and watching, because that's pretty much what we're going to be able to rest and relax in the kingdom, but right now, there's times, being in this flesh, you do need a little break, much study is a weariness of the flesh. So you do need a little break, but at the end of the day, don't let that little break become a habit to where it's going to stunt your if I'm using the word correctly, your spiritual growth. All right. So the word is krahi pale, the giddiness and headache caused by drinking wine to excess. So it's excess, being charged with excess of what? The world, because the world is going to be destroyed, So it says, take heed to yourselves, at least at any time your hearts be overcharged with surfeiting and drunkenness and cares of this life. And so that day come upon you, what? Unawares. Why? Because you were not Gregorious, watching. Unawares. The word unaware is ahif nidios. It means unexpected, sudden, unforeseen. Why? Because you weren't watching. You didn't have your lamps trimmed. You didn't have oil in your lamp, and that day come upon you unawares. But we are not in darkness that day should overtake us as a thief.